All right, party people in the place to be, vandals, and all those people out there tweaking on cold medicine. This is a brand new spooky season episode of How Do We Get Here? And tonight we are talking about the Australian horror flick Talk to Me. And since Goose is back, we are calling the episode Talk to Me Goose because that's kind of his catchphrase. And hey, this isn't where I parked my car.
How did I get here?
I don't know, man.
So this movie, before we get into this movie, does anybody got like anything they kind of want to like check in, shout out?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, man. Go ahead.
Here recently, I've been reading a lot of the older Judge Dredd, which has been super awesome. Check that out if you can, especially the Judge Death arcs. Fantastic. However, last night, me and Dakota watched The Menu.
Okay.
And I don't know if y'all have seen that, but I absolutely loved it. Good morning. That's how I know the world hasn't ended yet, because it is already tomorrow in Australia, and Ronan is still here.
Living in the future.
Ronan living in the land of disembodied mannequin hands that can fuck your life up. Like
I thought he came from the land where women glow and men plunder.
yeah, can you hear the thunder?
You better run. Better take cover. But no, The Menu was
Here we go.
The Menu was pretty incredible. I enjoyed it. Ray Fiennes is pretty much great in everything he does. And so that, and I love Anya. Is it Anya Joy Taylor? Anya Taylor Joy?
Taylor Joy, yeah.
Taylor Joy. Right, yeah. She was fantastic in New Mutants, and she was fantastic in The Menu. Nicholas Hoult was in it, and I usually like his characters, but I fucking hated him.
Oh, he was perfectly cast.
You know what? That's fair. He's just so fucking oblivious and just so. But no, The Menu was A1. I definitely enjoyed it.
All right.
Nice.
Speaking of things I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Well, if you got more
Anyone
than one
else have
thing to
anything?
shout out, yeah.
Judge Dredd, The Menu.
You got anything else?
No, I was transitioning, but
I watched along with Talk to Me. I watched a movie called Perpetrator. I think I've talked about it a bit. It's a Shudder original. It was cool. I liked it slightly better than Talk to Me, but like, I don't know. Like, it was almost two different movies, but like I did enjoy what they did with it. I liked how the trailer set you up thinking that like Alicia Silverstone was going to be the bad guy, but she kind of.
Who's in that with her?
Man, just a bunch of kids. I don't think I've ever seen any of them before.
Okay, she also is in that Reptile movie that came out on Netflix too.
That's why she's on my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elle's right there.
I was like, I didn't realize that was a horror. I watched No One Will Save You, that Hulu original.
What did you think?
Number one, the alien feet had me the whole movie. I was dying every time the little feet came on the screen. I appreciate that they went like full on with it, and he straight up said that there's no real like there's no actual like takeaway, that everybody can have their own ending in their head. So like I appreciate that, because I'm just gonna go full weird, you know. But I thought it was I went in for a good time. It was like super depressing, but it was okay. It was interesting.
Quick question:
I fell asleep trying to watch it.
With a name like that, how could it be depressing, man? Like that's the most uplifting film.
I went in for a good time and came away with like childhood trauma. And
did anybody save anybody?
Kinda.
Fuck it then. Yeah. No one will save you.
Well, I mean, I guess it's like again, it's subject. Like maybe not. Kind of
sounds like a Zack Snyder Superman movie to me. Like,
yeah. I appreciated like the 3 lines of dialogue. I was like, cool. I don't have to use subtitles.
Right.
Wait, was it the movie or the show where it's like basically silent?
More or less, yeah. Like with the aliens.
Yeah. My mother-in-law was watching that. I think she enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, depending on what you want to take away from it, you can go as deep as you want or as surface.
Yeah.
Would you
And
recommend
very
it?
divisive. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't recommend it. only because it's like because of how ambiguous it is. I know most people just want an ending, and it really
Yeah.
was very subjective.
Chris is in the house. How's it going, Chris? I started watching an old show that I caught sporadically when it was airing. You're the Worst. So I've been
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of
Okay.
That was
semi
good.
rewatching it because I hadn't seen a lot of the episodes. So I'm kind of I signed up to Disney again because they had a deal for 3 months. So I put that on when I have when I want to kill 20 minutes. I throw a few of those episodes on here and there.
I enjoyed the first 2 seasons, but I really enjoy redheads, and so it hooked me from the beginning.
The last season of Res Dogs just ended. I really enjoyed that.
Oh,
I heard it was the series. Was that the series finale?
Yeah, it was the big tie-up. I liked the way it ended. I thought it was pretty cute, like just like the rest of the show. It went out the way the rest of the show rocked. Wasn't the best season, but like I still really enjoyed it. I thought the second season was very good.
I watched a lot of the first season, and I really enjoyed it. I need to finish the whole series. I just finished up Ultraman Tara or Ultraman Leo, and me and Dakota have made it to the 3rd season of Adventure Time. We bought the whole series, so we started on disc 1, and we're up to like disc 5 of like 40. And
Oh my god.
So
That's a commitment.
Well, we watched all of Twin Peaks, like seasons 1 through 3 and Firewalk with me. And we did that. Like we would just sit down and put it on and keep going. And it was like 30 discs. And so Adventure Time lore is a little bit deeper than
I was gonna say it's a really nice transition there.
Plus they've got the HBO specials, and Fiona and Cake just came on. But yeah, it's been a good time.
And then Gen V too. I watched the first 3 episodes that they dropped.
Oh, that dropped this weekend.
Yeah.
Is that the Boys spinoff?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. How was it?
Disgusting. It was so.
Fuck yeah.
I really enjoyed it, but that first episode, I said put a few more warnings up. It was gross, and I mean not violently, sexually, mentally disgusting. But it was really good. I enjoy the cast so far. The powers are. I feel like when they were writing like the original like people and like, oh, what could their powers be? Like they had to be on something. Because some of the powers, I'm like, why would that be a power? And imagine you getting dosed and that was your power. Like I don't know if I could deal with it. Like, no, out of all the powers, this is the one I'm gonna get. I'm just keeping it a secret.
I realized I've hit a new milestone in age because I put on Dead Alive the other day. And I couldn't eat while watching it.
The pudding scene
of disgusting.
It's particularly horrible. Yeah, the pudding.
Oh God, yeah, that one got me. I could eat in the later half of the movie. Like the lawnmower scene doesn't bother me at all. But like when he's feeding the nurse and like, oh God, and then I couldn't eat during it, and I was like, oh man, I'm getting old.
It's such a good movie, though.
Oh, it's so great. I started off Halloween with a bang, or spooky season with a bang.
Yeah.
Hey, there's no war on Halloween, man. You can go ahead and say that word all you want to.
Well, I took Halloween off this year because I'm taking Orion trick or treating for the first time, and he's going as Mario. Imogen is going to be Princess Peach, and I haven't decided if I'm going to be Wario, Waluigi, or just regular Luigi yet. But it's going to be a good time.
Definitely between Waluigi and regular Luigi, you got that like lanky look to you now. He just needs the green overalls and the stash.
And you're way taller than him too, so
yeah, way. You know what? It does work out. It works out perfect.
That's a little problematic, but I'll digress.
Hey, you know, I'm my own grandpa.
All right. Anyone else have anything they want to check in that they've been reading or watching lately?
I binged the first season of Barry yesterday.
Oh yes, you posted about that. And did you? No.
No.
See?
It's not.
I
Now-
agree with you. It's a hard watch for me too, and I
Now
love.
you-
I just
Yeah.
That show gets sad for me, man. Like,
Does
Yeah.
it?
yeah.
I'm not gonna keep going. So.
Yeah. Now you know how I feel about
I'm good.
Succession.
I get it now. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When you just
Everybody
don't like
is
character.
punchable.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you feel my pain now. You feel my
Yeah.
pain.
No, I get it. I get it.
still
I'll cut
gonna
you some
ride for
slack.
Succession though.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So does that wrap up our check-in? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
All right. So what's our feature presentation then tonight?
I have the trailer loaded up to this film. I'm going to play it really fast. I also have a clip. I'm not sure if I can get away with playing that, but I'm pretty sure we can do the trailer. So I'm going to do that so the people at home that are not aware of this film might, kind of get a glimpse of what we're
An idea? Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to play that, and then we're going to, get into the future presentation. Just talk to me.
Have you seen the group chat? You're doing it again tonight? No. Please. It's my mom's Remembrance Day. I just want to forget about it.
Who's up?
I'll do it.
Cannot go for more than 90 seconds. Am I clear?
What happens after 90 seconds?
Don't want to stay. Light the candle to open the door. Blow it out to close it. Put your hand on it. Now say, talk to me.
Talk to me.
What did the hand feel like?
It felt amazing. I could see and feel everything on the other side. So my mom, she was trying to reach out. Mom, I'm here. Still been saying stuff.
You mean saying stuff?
What if we opened the door but we didn't shut it?
Oh my god, they followed us.
I like you. They're not gonna stop. They're never gonna stop. They like you. Talk to me.
All right. And that's what we're talking about tonight. We're diving into this little gym. And Joe, how do you want to do this? You kind of want to go around and get everybody's general thoughts, or what?
Yeah, I'll just give a quick, kind of synapse on this was directed by two brothers from Australia that they started as YouTubers. They were doing videos, just stunt videos. Like they're big time into practical effects. And as little kids, they were doing wrestling videos and just doing stunts and this and that. And they caught fire on YouTube. I think it's called Raka Raka, their YouTube channel.
Really?
And
it was made by Raka Raka?
Yeah, it's the two brothers. Yeah, from Raka Raka, man. And and so they got in touch with this other guy who had an idea for a movie, and he approached them, and they kind of teamed up and created this movie and got accepted into Sundance. And at Sundance, from the screening, that's when the A24 signed them to for the movie, and that's how this all came about. It's just two brothers that just love filming like tricks and effects and stuff. Not like Jackass where it's gross stuff, but really getting hit by cars, jumping off things and like just really stunt stuff.
Action
And,
movie stuff, pretty
yeah,
much.
exactly. Yeah, and they're super into practical effects. So like this movie almost has all practical effects. So the two brothers, the Raka Raka brothers, is Danny Philippou and Michael Philippou. So those are the two directors. And I watched the YouTube, their little mini documentary on how their movie came to be, and it was a pretty fun little video. And it's not very long; it's like 13 minutes long. So if you want, you could go watch that and see how this movie came to be. And it's a really interesting story. So it's worth going on in the Raka Raka YouTube channel and go and check that out. Yeah.
This is way more serious of a film than I'd expect those guys to make. Wow.
Yeah, the original was supposed to be more comedic, and they wanted to go with a much more serious tone. Like I got all this from watching that little 13-minute YouTube thing. They really go into like a lot of detail on how it came to be and everything. So yeah. So it's pretty cool, man. That these two guys that just had a passion for just filming stuff, and boom, they got into Sundance. And you see it when you watch that video. They're so like, I can't believe it. I can't. And like, there aren't very many established actors in this, except for maybe a few. Mm-hmm. So like the main actress, she's never really been in anything. So like when they found out they're going to, when they found out they're going to Sundance, they're all freaking out. And then when they found out that A24 picked them up, they're crying and they're hugging each other. Like, it's such a touch. Like, I almost cried while watching this video when they find out A24 picks them up. It's like beyond their dreams. Like, they could never imagine like going from being like YouTube, I don't know if they were sensations, but actually really popular on YouTube, to having a full feature-length film released by A24. So it's a fun little watch. Go on YouTube and watch that. It's definitely worthwhile, and it adds a lot of context to how this movie came to be, which makes it even that much more impressive. Yeah. All right, so we could go around, like you said, Johnny. I just wanted to give that little bit of context to everyone for just to show how like this is such like one of those Cinderella stories where these guys were very small fries and they just became a huge deal now in like Hollywood. Like with this film, this is going to launch probably so many careers now after this.
And I read that Legendary is letting them do Street Fighter.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Okay, because like most of their videos I've seen have been like Street Fighter inspired videos.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
And in the video, they said they don't like digital special effects. They're really into practical effects. The only thing they use, special like VF, whatever you call it, is to enhance practical effects, to clean up the practical effects. But the base of all their action is all practical, and they use effects to go in to clean it up and polish it. So
I'm a sucker for practical effects. I have been forever. And so that makes me super happy if we're going to get a Street Fighter movie like that.
Skin-on-skin sounds that are authentic.
Love them skin-on-skin
also,
sounds.
Also, good to know that foot-sucking scene was real then, huh?
I asked my wife.
Hot sauce on them toes.
I was like, how many times do you think they made that guy wash his feet before they did that scene?
How many times did they have to and I wasn't really feeling the way you were doing that.
She had the whole thing in her. She had the whole thing in her mouth, man. Like,
yeah.
That wasn't as bad as the dog. Like, the dog was like talking the dude into
that wasn't practical either. Then that was just a really horny dog.
You guys ain't never kissed your dog?
No.
Not like that, man. Not like that. While grinding the floor. Yeah. Oh, okay. Anyway, we'll get into it. We'll go around. We'll start at the top, and we could go off on whatever. If someone brings something up, and you want to elaborate on it even more, then we'll go like that. Okay. So we'll start with Goose, then. Or did you want to go first, Johnny?
No, we'll go ahead and let everybody else start.
Okay. All right, Goose, man, what's up?
I really enjoyed this film. To say that it brought something new wouldn't exactly be true, but the story was interesting enough. It was an interesting enough take on the whole possession thing. I went into it with not very much knowledge, and I will say, like, everybody knows what Chekhov's gun is. This movie had Chekhov's arsenal. They set up a lot of stuff in the first act. I say the first act, the first 30 minutes. I was like, okay, well, I see what's gonna happen. Let's see how they do it. And each one, I was right. I was able to kind of nail it down, but the execution of those plot points was so well done. The movie kept me interested from start to finish. I do think that the hand was a really I thought that concept was very unique. And I really enjoyed it, especially that opening scene. Like it caught me off guard because
Have you seen Duncan? Who the fuck's Duncan? And he's running through the party, and it just creates that like tension and atmosphere, like a little bit chaotic. So right off it doesn't start smooth, right? With the party like that, it starts like at a higher intensity because the guy's looking for something. So right off the bat, you have that tension right off the bat, like you said, from that opening scene. Yeah.
It's not even a crescendo. Like it starts at the top with like damn near pure anxiety. His brother searching through the party. It had a very, it set the scene very well. With each new scene, like it seemed like they paid a lot of attention to the vibe of each scene. Like I felt there wasn't a part of the movie that I was left bored with or that didn't leave me feeling some type of way. And I'll tell you guys, this was a eye-popping film. All right, so I think I said it in the group chat, or I may have just said it to Johnny, or I may have just said it to you, Joe, but I have a really big thing with like hand and finger injuries. Like I work in places where I've seen people lose fingers and lose hands, and so like those injuries get me. And boy howdy, they had got me a lot. Like when you hear, it's not even, I wouldn't even call them defensive wounds. They were more offensive wounds. The dude was on the offense for himself. Like he was batting for the wrong team. He kicked a goal in the opposing team's field. But man, it was brutal and bloody at some points, and it was sweet at other points. There were some times where I really felt empathy and sympathy for the main character, Mia, but they were only notes and hints because I think we can all agree, and we talked about this on the last episode, so I think I can say it. She was kind of a cunt, yeah?
Like I thought the friend was. I thought the friend was horrible.
You know what? Going into this Goose, though, it kind of reminded me of how hard you went, because I had a feeling you were gonna say that, and it reminded me of like the just flat out disagreement I had like with that comic book that you were like, "Shit, I fucking hate this." And I had a feeling
the car one where the baby gets trapped in the car.
Monolith.
Yeah,
no. Yeah, well, Monolith, and then the other one too. The
one that Jason Starr wrote, the AWA book.
And I had this character kind of. There was a lot of
fling,
casual fling.
Yeah, casual fling.
AWA baby. No, Casual Fling is such a good book, and I say that knowing that I fucking hate the main character so goddamn much. I wish the worst for her, but I really did think the friend was the more fucking reasonable one, because she was like, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe we shouldn't go to this weird ass party. Maybe you shouldn't grab that hand. Please don't let my little brother try this.
Yeah, and but like, I think it's also like losing her mom, like that sense of like, I could be the sister that he wants, that he's not getting from, so there's that conflict of interest, right? Where she wants to be like the bigger sister to him because her sister doesn't pick him up when she's supposed to. And she's like neglecting her friendship too, because she's all into this guy, right? So she's neglecting everything around her because she's obsessed with like trying to hook up with this guy. And so I think she tried to assume the big sister role, but the fun big sister role, and it kind of backfires on her, as you see from watching the movie. I don't think it was malicious, and intent, but it wasn't her place either to either give or allow him to do that, right? Like, and I mean, the kid's old enough too. Like,
Well, that's when the movie really steps into after school special territory. I felt like this was a totally kind of a PSA movie, like almost, and it wore it on its sleeve a lot more than even say something like It Follows did. Like there was some heavy messaging in this film I haven't seen since the '80s, which kind of cracked me up.
You said PSA, and I don't know if the PSA is like fully around the country, but do y'all remember the meth? Oh, meth PSA.
No.
No, but it sounds wonderful.
Oh no, I'm gonna send it to you all. It maybe just be a Southern thing because down here we like our tea sweet and we like our meth crystal. But no, it did have serious overtones like that. And look, I'm not advocating drugs and all that stuff for anybody, but I'm saying, like, know your limits. One thing that I wish is that all the stuff that I did in the past, I would have waited until I was like 25 when my brain was fully developed. And so like that's a thing. Like the dude was like, what, 13? Like
13, 14, yeah, around that, yeah.
And
he wasn't older than 15, I don't think.
Mia, who's called out for smoking pot, like if she was smoking pot with the 13 or 14-year-old, I'd be like, yeah, she's not a cunt. But she let him commune with the dead. And so you got to draw a line. Like there's smoking pot with 13-year-old, fucking a 13-year-old when you're like 17, which would still be awkward. And then like letting 13-year-old commune with the dead. And look, because you know what? The first two doesn't have disastrous results.
I would disagree probably a little bit, but like...
Yeah.
I feel like it was still such a new experience that she
that's
couldn't
it. No
trust
one
herself to know if it was an actual thing. So it was
because no one at the party is really aware of the outcome of that introduction to the movie, right? Except for the two people that have the hand. Yeah. So no one else in the party is aware of maybe the possible outcomes of it. So everyone there thinks it's just fun. Yeah, exactly. Everyone just thinks it's fun, right? So anyway. All right, so we'll pass it. We'll pass it on to Elle to see what her. Yeah, sorry, Goose.
It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye.
Yeah. So Elle, what's your take on it? What's your overall take on it?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was not the movie I thought it was going to be. First of all, when they started to have Australian accents, I said, "Whoa!" I like automatically. I like this. I love Australian films and TV shows. They just like the original Australian, like the slap and stuff. Brilliant stuff. And so I was in after I heard the accents, and I also was reading that like the brothers too were like they like the Australian filmmaking culture, and I do feel it's a little bit more liberal and kind of wild west versus American filmmaking.
Okay.
And so I did appreciate all of that. The main character reminded me so much of like my high school best friend. Leah's not here, so it's okay, I could say it. But Jasmine Boston, if you're watching, when I tell you she looks exactly like her, I was tripping the whole movie. And I feel like she probably would have made the same choices in high school. And so
normally I'd edit myself, but your friend wasn't, or normally I wouldn't edit myself, but your friend wasn't a C word, was she?
I think some people perceived her a certain way.
Hey, because she was like, own your cut.
Yeah, because she was a little bit older than us. We were all in the same grade, but like by the time we got to senior year, she already had like a fast car. She already had tattoos. She already was like, she was like a badass.
She was a bad bitch.
Yeah, and so like everybody was like, I don't want to say scared of her, but kind of like put off because she wasn't like, she never tried to like fit in or anything, but she was pretty fucking cool. And so I know Leandra, she was like, it was definitely two different personalities dealing with the two of them. And so so I really enjoyed that. And you good?
I'm good. I was fucking around and I was like half-ass doing the Macarena, and Dakota walked in. She's like, "Why the fuck are you doing the Macarena?" Sorry, go ahead.
I thought it paralleled Midsummer a lot in the female trauma and family trauma tropes and stuff, especially with the opening scene, like it's starting off just traumatizing. And so I appreciate that too, because Midsummer is one of my favorite movies. So anything that makes you sad and scream in a group with other women is okay with
Yeah.
me. It was a
Yeah,
lot
That
darker
gross
than I
shit.
thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be that heavy or dark either.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, like I thought it was like it felt true, the experience of the mourning and the loss, and she kind of put common sense aside because she just convinced herself that this was something that she needed. And it was just sad, like the dad not explaining everything to her and making her believe certain things. And even the scene with her dad, like that hurt my stomach. It was just so sad.
And the fact that the father did that never gave her proper closure in the matter, which kind of
Fed the demon.
which like made her make these decisions, right? That instigated her to do make these choices. So.
But even as a parent, it's a hard call.
Yeah,
because either way, you're traumatizing the child. Like either.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the conspiracy theorist here, but like with the lead up and what happened with that and what happened directly after, was the dad at that point in time? Like that's something I was thinking about as that scene progressed, was like, was that the entities fucking with her, or was that her dad?
Oh, that was her dad.
Absolutely
her dad. Given the letter, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely her dad. That was real. And leading up after that, that's all the demons,
demonic
or the spirits fucking with her.
Because her dad, around that same time, before he reads her the letter, he finds the hand. And I don't know, he doesn't know the rules to the hand or whatever, but like I feel like being in close proximity to it like that could lead to things.
You wouldn't dap up a hand if you saw one randomly?
No, I think that just
I'd dap it the fuck, like I'd play around with it. I would like put my arm in my shirt and put the little hand out my sleeve and say, grab my strong hand, and like
and stir the mashed potatoes with it.
My turn.
But I think him finding the hand was more like, okay, he comes to the realization, I've got to be completely honest with her now.
Like he finds the weed.
This is weird. It's like a weird thing. Like, okay, what the fuck's this? This is a little weird. So, and he knows she's having problems coping with this. It's been a year and she's still not coping with it properly. So maybe he's like, okay, I've got to be completely transparent with her, and because something's going on and she's not communicating with me. I don't know what the fuck this is. It's not normal. It's weird. Who the fuck walks around with like a fucking hand hidden in your bag?
But that's where I empathize with her friend too, because I lost my dad when I was in high school and people didn't know how to talk to me. And so when I moved schools, I kind of just took on like a everything's a joke personality. So I made a lot of like dead dad jokes, but like it was because I knew it was like an uncomfortable, especially with a bunch of kids, like they're not gonna always say the right or best thing, and they're not gonna always understand it. And so like I could empathize with her on that. Like I felt like she kind of pushed her away, again, not on purpose, but it was just easier to just be like, oh, we've been friends a long time, there's comfort here. Like her mom and brother were cool with her, but like really I don't think she was trying to be around that energy anymore, because it's draining. It is, especially when you're not coping with it.
I'm happy you brought that up, because I wanted to ask you if you related or if you found like any common ground because of your experience and the age you were when you lost your father. So I wasn't going to ask you, but I'm happy you brought it up because I was curious to know if you related to it on any level there. So,
but also I feel like I felt like I understood everything, and I even understood a lot of the things that decisions she made to like just disassociate and kind of like fall into like the lore of what she wanted it to be real. And I thought that made it really easy for like, the spirit to take, to lie to her.
Manipulate.
It was easy.
Easy
Yeah.
to
because who
manipulate her.
wouldn't
Yeah,
want to be
exactly.
held one more time,
Mhm.
Right.
by their mom? And so I think it was easy to believe all the lies and stuff like that. And even her doing it over and over again, it's like maybe it'll be different this time, like because you're trying to convince yourself, right, that
But
they're gonna come back in some form, that you could see them
but
in some form.
but also as she does it over and over, the physical of appearance of the mother each time deteriorates,
Mhm.
becomes more ugly each time she
Because
goes in and
I feel
talks
like
to her
she
mother.
knew. I feel
Yeah,
like she,
yeah.
on a level, obviously at the end we know that she,
Mhm.
she knew that she was being manipulated. But sometimes I think it's easier just to live with the lie. And I
Mhm.
think it was interesting that she could accept her mom's lie, but she couldn't accept her dad's, lie about her mom.
Yeah.
Right.
And but yeah, for sure, like, and it sucks. I didn't make the same decisions as she did with experimenting with hands and stuff though, but I think it's because like, and then my trauma
Or
is different
feet.
because I knew my dad was sick. I saw him, pass away. So it was kind of like traumatic, but it was like I'm okay
Not
with
But there
it.
weren't
not
like lingering
sudden.
questions.
No. No.
Yeah.
The day my dad died, he told me he was going to die. He was
Oh.
like, "I'm dying today." And I said, "Yeah, okay, bye." But
Well, when you're a kid, you just like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever,
yeah, I'm
like
like, "Okay."
you don't take it seriously. You
Yeah.
think, oh,
Yeah.
So later that day, I said, "Oh, okay. Well, you were telling the truth." But yeah, like, it's like, I think it's just a shame that like there were people there who could have, done better in terms of helping her. But it is a tricky situation, especially with suicide and what you want your child to believe about their parent and the actuality of it. And we don't, because we don't ever really learn the whys, or
no.
and then again with generational, especially mental health and stuff, it kind of seemed if that was what it was, then that sadness was something that Mia had in her all along as well, especially based on her decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. For
But
sure.
about the dad finding the hand in the bag, Joe, like I have an explanation for that. Kids in high school steal really weird shit. Like I have firsthand experience. Like I used to steal lawn gnomes, and like I would literally steal. Me and my friends, we'd steal parts of mannequins from the mall, and like I never actually got to keep most of it because I would give it away. Like actually, girls would ask me for that shit. So I wouldn't be surprised if like there were girls I knew in high school whose dad found fucking mannequin hands in their bags and were like, "My girl talking to the dead."
I
I
don't-
didn't
I
even
don't-
think about it in that context
Holding your
until
ring.
now. Yeah.
I don't think he assumed she was talking to them, but he probably thought it was kind of weird and creepy, So
Yeah. Like I
and-
need to talk to her now. Yeah.
Especially with the graffiti on it, like reading what was probably written on
Written,
it. Like,
yeah,
what the
exactly.
heck?
Like
So,
let me
Cookie?
out or whatever. Yeah.
So we'll let you go, Cookie. What were your overall thoughts of the movie?
Well, going into it, I wasn't familiar with the Raka Raka boys, so I was like, oh, is this going to be like a Logan Paul kind of weird movie or whatever? And my history with A24 is like 50-50 with their horror. I either love it or I hate it. And there was so much buildup around this about how scary it is. It's the scariest movie of the year, and it's, whatever. I was not expecting to love this movie as much as I did and for it to have as much of an effect on me as it did. Like I got upset. like the beginning was shocking, the middle was extremely uncomfortable, and then the end was just trauma. It was just so upsetting. But I loved it, and I thought it was great.
Yeah,
See,
it's
I'm
good.
an A24 apologist. I will make up a reason to tell you why this movie was good. Like,
if I'm not mistaken, didn't they do the Belko experiment?
I think they did.
Okay, because I was gonna say I'm pretty sure like it's more hits than misses. Like I think I've seen a few of their movies that I haven't liked, but when I see A24 like putting a movie out, I'm like, all right, well I want to watch that because everything I've seen by them, whether or not I enjoyed it, was at least interesting enough to be watched from start to finish.
Yeah,
like Lamb. I was like, well, actually, the lamb is an
still haven't
allegory for
watched Lamb.
I like that movie. I thought it was good.
Yeah, Lamb was crazy, man. I watch anything with Numira space in it, anyways. But like, Like just her with the little goat kid. That was
Yeah,
sweet.
it was.
And like the
yeah.
weird relationship that like Hideo Kojima took to the movie, and then he just keeps putting like the lamb in his posts, like with Metal Gear Solid and other stuff, and I'm just like, what a weird like. Now we have to have the lamb in a video game or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Maybe in the next Death Stranding you can
Yeah.
piss on a lamb to death.
Maybe a lamb fetus instead of a BB
Oh no.
in the baby carrier.
No.
The baby lamb.
I hate it.
Lamb fetus. That sounds delicious. Was that veal? Was that
Yeah, I was
veal?
about to say, is that veal?
So Johnny, do you want to go or do you want to let me go? We kind of have a similar opinion of this movie.
Man, this movie, now knowing what I know about it, like I'm not going to be as harsh as I was because I'm kind of blown away. Like, everybody keeps saying A24. When I was watching it, I got way more of a Blumhouse feel. This thing had like serious blockbuster, like Insidious type visuals and feel to it, even though it did have like Australian kids I've never seen before acting in it. So, and the performances were spectacular. And I think that the setup for the movie is like one of the greatest I've seen in a long time.
Who put out the Belko experiment?
Here's what I found.
You're killing me right now. You're killing me.
Don't give out your bank account number, Goose. We can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I know you have to hear me. I was
Figure out because you said
ordering.
Blumhouse, I was
Goose
like,
is ordering a pizza while we're recording, giving out his home address.
I was muted because I was like, wait, did Blumhouse do the Belko experiment or did A24 do it? But I'm using my phone to record, so I couldn't like just check my phone, so I had to use Siri. But I'm glad that they got my bad, y'all. It's the reverse Goose where I think I'm muted and I'm over here asking my watch to tell me who produced the Belko experiment. I apologize. Keep
The
going.
joke is it's not even an Apple Watch. It's just a regular watch.
Yeah.
It's a
Casio.
It's a Casio, but it has a calculator. So fuck off.
Oh, I thought maybe it was one of the
That's
one of the
fancy.
ones that Will.I.am made. One of them Black Eyed Pea watches he was making.
He did what on a P? Anyway, sorry.
Do you remember where you're at, Johnny?
Yeah, like the setup for the movie and the hand and the way it worked, incredible stuff. I really liked the trajectory of the film and what could have been possible with it. And my favorite thing is they never explained it. They didn't give any lore. There was some possible like shit talking that the two kids did that you couldn't take seriously because they didn't know anything about it. But I loved that, like, you don't understand the damn thing. And like that's kind of cool that you guys brought up that maybe like just being in proximity of it makes you understand how it works, because later on after this story you see like, so like I'm thinking that there is a lot to be done with this thing in the future if they decide to carry on with it, and I'm all for that. I would like to see further storylines with this. And another thing I want to throw in, like now knowing that they're YouTuber guys, I actually want to ask them if they made the little brother look so much like Philip DeFranco on purpose to like kind of clown that guy, but like a little kid looked just like Philip DeFranco. I kept waiting for him to say.
Before or after he messes his face up?
Both.
No comment.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but now that you mention it, I look back and I see him, and I'm like, oh my god,
Billy
that-
D.
What's up, you beautiful bastards?
Hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. No, I agree with you on that. Like they really did make that little kid. I think they really did make him look like Philip DeFranco because pulled it off. They really had
And
their
that
eye
hell
on the
scene
prize.
too was wild.
Oh
my
shit!
god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing. Like this movie, there's not very much. There's not a kill count to it. There's very little like actual death or anything. But when the gore happens, it is gratuitous and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Like it's very well done.
The
Like,
implied
just
death
torture.
that surrounds it is scary. that's what's scary about it is this wouldn't be a thing unless there was tortured souls, like that's
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna think kind of where they went with what that was possible with the storyline was kind of weak, and I thought that I did like the very end of the film, but I thought the lead up to the end was they could have pulled it off a lot stronger with what they had going for the rest of the film. Like I don't know how they kind of got a little weak at that part, but you know, I like I said, I like knowing what I know about it now. I'm going to be a lot less harsh than I was going to be, you know, I applaud it now, and I really do. Like I said, I can see them jumping from A24 and going and making big blockbuster horror films for Jason Blum in the near future with very little effort, because like this was disappointing to me as an A24 horror film, but as a Blumhouse film, this would have been one of the best things they'd put out since The Conjuring 2, maybe.
It's funny you bring that up, because in the little documentary thing I watched there was interest by bigger studios, right? Like American studios and stuff. And they wanted like, oh, let's lose the Australian, right? They wanted to go with like maybe American actors and stuff. They're like, no, man, this is like, we don't want to do that. So they were like, let's go to Sundance and see if we get interest and get offers. And then when A24 came, it was like, listen, we love it. We want you to do your thing. And they kind of gave them, we're going to help you. Just do what your vision is. And I think it turned out for the best, because like the bigger studios were trying to make too many decisions,
film it in America, get an American cast.
That's the thing. Like A24, I think is really good about letting the people that they put their money into do their thing. And that's another thing that people don't realize. Did you know that A24 was able to skirt all of the WGA union strikes because they immediately not capitulated. That sounds like they willingly said, you know what, we allow all these terms, let's do it. And like very like the movie was great and all that, but when you see like a production house doing something like that, it really makes me enjoy their films more, because I feel like they're not in it to be one of these big Hollywood producers. They're in it to make films. And I feel like that's the interesting thing about A24 is we're getting stuff from them that we're not getting from these big production studios. We're getting like great fucking films that are scary and out there and stuff that I feel like would have been considered like B movies or not like looked at as the way that the A24 films are looked at.
Oh, absolutely agree. Because I also think that because it's A24, I took it seriously. I didn't take it as like, oh, they're gonna try to just jump scare us, or this is just like I took it as like there's going to be some kind of deeper level of meaning to this without them trying to make a joke about it. Whereas like Blumhouse and some of the other ones, it's kind of like sometimes they kind of take the easy route, and it's like, I don't know if you guys are just trying to. I feel like sometimes they take the horror audience and try to make them feel dumb. And so with this, I just kind of took it as like, this is dead serious. Like, I'm allowed to be, scared. I'm allowed to like feel uncomfortable without me being the joke at the end of the movie.
I think there's maybe one like not even a jump scare, but like in the bedroom when the woman shows up, I think that was the closest thing to a jump scare in the movie.
She starts crawling really fast. I was like,
I hate crawling. But I think slowly appearing things in this movie too made it even scarier, because it's like that freaked me out. I was like, stop doing that. Just jump out.
That's what I was gonna say. It was one of those things where like it built up naturally and they didn't have to use jump scares, because look, don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for a good jump scare, but it's films that can use them but don't, and they draw that tension out that I think really is what stands out as far as this film goes, because we've all seen possession films, we've all seen films with demons and stuff like that, and so I think like I compared The Hand. Johnny was talking about it earlier, like the origin of The Hand. In my mind, when I saw it, it was like a sick hand of glory, and so like that connection with the dad, I was thinking like that hand's got to come from a fucking tortured soul, And like I said, there's not jump scares. It builds everything up, and there are like high points that like sit you back in your seat. Like especially the scene with the little brother like going fucking batshit bonkers.
Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's
That
two.
poor
that are-
kid.
yeah.
Justice for
That
Oh,
shower
yeah.
Crying
scene
out
was
loud.
traumatizing. I said, oh no.
But
Oh, no.
so yeah, I'll do my take on it. I'm not unlike a lot of you. I heard the buzz. Like this movie had a lot of buzz going for it, and I hadn't even watched a trailer. I knew just the basic premise was like it's like in a Ouija board type thing, but with a hand instead, communicating with the dead through an item. And instead of like asking it questions, and it's you hold the hand. So that's about the basic knowledge I had of it. And like Johnny, I think the hand is a fantastic way of doing it.
Before we go any further, it's not a spoiler, but they do mention that the hand is a dead person's hand encased in plaster.
Yeah, but that's from an unreliable narrator.
Yeah, and they don't know. They even argue whether that has merit in the movie, which is like I was going to touch on that. Like, like Johnny's saying, like how like the hand and the lore around it, they give you the very basic facts that they know. 90 seconds or less. You go beyond that, and the spirit wants to stay connected to you. So they have all these basic rules that they follow. The candle, light the candle, it opens the door to let the spirit that's in limbo in, and as soon as you blow the candle out, it's supposed to close that door that between the two dimensions or worlds or whatever you want to call it, the veil. They have these basic rules, and then as they like, where did the hand come from, this and that, they speculate on what they heard, the rumors, and even within themselves, the two people are like, yeah, well, we don't know. And he's like, if you break it, there's a person's embalmed hand on the inside, and they're like, no fucking way. And like, there's that whole mystery around the lore of it is, I think, adds so much to the story, and I thought that part was fantastic.
Now, there's one more question before I let you go on. You mentioned the 90-second thing, which I was going to bring up, and I forgot about it. Do we all believe that she spent more than 90 seconds before they pulled that hand off? Because like that whole interaction scene with them trying to pull the hand from her, that seemed like it lasted more than 5 seconds.
Yeah, but they went into Vin Diesel time at that point. It was like
they went into family time.
No, like in Fast and the Furious, like how they got the 10-second 5-minute races. You know what I mean? They go into like special Vin Diesel time.
Oh yeah, a 10-second car.
Yeah. I feel like that could be argued because I feel like the more susceptible you are to the possession, the easier it is for the spirit to hold on. Because it was almost like they were holding on to each other. Yeah. The hand, her and the hand. So I don't believe the 90 seconds is real. I think that's just the last time this happened, it was 90 seconds.
Yeah. You say that, but she was seeing stuff, and this is before like anything else, but she was seeing stuff outside of touching the hand, and she even brings it up. She was like, I'm still seeing stuff. It was in the trailer earlier. She was like, I'm still seeing stuff after, and the one was like, the person was like, what?
Yeah, that's why I think it's like the more resilient you are to that kind of thing, then you're least likely to happen. But she was like very open, very susceptible. So I think one hit and she was just like with drugs, which is kind of like the parallel they were making. Like you do something one time. Some people do something one time and that's it. That's a wrap. And then other people are like, oh, gateway.
Well, see, we looked at it from different perspectives then, because I could see where she would be more open to it, but I thought her seeing spirits outside of touching the hand came from the fact that it took them, whether the 90 seconds was reliable or not, like maybe it was, and she went a second over it. Yeah, and that's because they even said
that she had gone over. Like, no, she went a little over.
She went over, but I don't like. We can't believe these are kids, and so the fact that they're like 90 seconds, is that a book? Yeah. Did it come with an instruction? I think that was with what's the guy's name? The guy from the party the last time. I think that was the 90 seconds, and so they were like, oh, over 90 seconds, and it takes over you. So I think that's
like, well, I mean, Duckett's brother had said that like if you go over, you're still gonna see shit, but it's eventually gonna, if you stop using the hand, it goes away.
Eventually, that connection becomes less strong, right? And it's tethered over time. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah. Another thing I love is the setup for, as kids, you're just bored and looking for something to do on a Friday night. Like, I love that whole thing, how it becomes like just a bunch of gang getting together. Like, I remember when I was in high school, we used to do that where you're up against the wall and everyone pushes on your chest. So you can't exhale. So you can't exhale, then you pass out, right? And I remember I used to have like these fucking crazy. I remember having these vivid, like super vivid dreams doing that, and we'd all like do that and take turns and shit. And it was like, it was crazy. And it was just for the trip. It was just for the trip, right?
Yeah.
And this is it. It's like it's a rush. They get a rush from it, and I love that aspect of it where one person goes and like says, "Oh, that's the best one yet," and everyone gets hyped, right? They're like, "Oh shit," because it's intense, and then all of a sudden everything comes back to us. Like, oh, it's cool, but it's not. It doesn't seem dangerous, right? But there's a little aspect of risk to it that's exciting, right? And
see,
they
that's
all get
where I would be the cunty, high-strung sister. Like, hey guys, you're having too much fun. We're gonna get in trouble. Chill.
The sister wasn't the cunt.
She was though, but she was. They both were competing for
Dick in the mud.
Joe, are you still taking notes on how many times cunt is said? Because I feel like we're
no, just for that
30.
one book. Just that one book. I'd have to rewatch it. We could put it in the descriptions after, and the one scene that I thought was great, and it definitely relates to the younger generations now, is as soon as she sits down, they strap her in, and she goes and grabs a hand. All of a sudden, you see boop, 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 boop. All the lights on their cell phones. Everyone's recording, and from that scene where it's like, bam, you just see all. And I was like, that's a great scene. That's kind of like, and then it becomes the cool thing. If you were there, were you there? I saw the video. No, I was there. It becomes like the end thing, the cool kid. It's only a certain crowd that can come in. And there's two characters I really love from this movie. I mean, the main character was great. The two characters I loved was the girl that decides who gets to come in to these hand parties. What was her character?
Well, also, let's not call it a hand party.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like it's something different.
I've got a party in my hand and you're invited.
Haley, Zoe Tarakis, I love her character. I thought she was great. Like how she's dismissive, rude, like she doesn't candy coat anything. Like why are you here? I love her character. Yeah, I love her character. Her character was great.
Super
and the mom.
real.
The mom. People might know her. It's Miranda Otto. She played the aunt in Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah.
And she was fantastic. I just love her interactions.
Let's not forget, she played Eowyn. One of the baddest bitches in the world, which is why I couldn't take her seriously, because I'm not about to let Eowyn's daughter talk shit to the baddest bitch in Middle Earth.
Yeah. And I love how, like, you always...
I'm no man. Sorry, go ahead.
She's like, just her responses to her kids, like, where she's trying to like trick them into telling her there's a party. She's going to each room and like crack a fucking window, because it stinks in his room or whatever. Or Mom, you're always thinking, well, he does have a dick, doesn't he? And like just her, like just how she just answers her kids. I loved her character. I thought that was a great little minor character that I thought was just fantastic. I loved her character. Yeah. And like Johnny, this was a movie that I loved for the first 2/3. When it got into the mom stuff, it was good, but I thought the manipulation of the girl was, I don't know, I found that part was maybe a little long and dragged out, like when he's in the hospital and all that, and I don't know. And then I thought the ending I loved the ending. The ending, how it finished. You get the kangaroo. She's watching all these people walking away into the dark, and all of a sudden, and I don't want to give the ending away, but I love the ending, how it kind of shows you like limbo, how these people go into limbo and everything, and just, oh shit, the realization that now You know,
I
I love that. I love the way it ended. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
I
So
got into a few Reddit arguments with people because they were basically trying to say because she didn't kill the kangaroo at the beginning, she's an awful person. But I'm somebody who also can't imagine inflicting.
No.
I
like,
wouldn't be able to do it.
I wouldn't be able to do
No.
it. And
but that
I
that
grew up.
is
I see it, yeah,
I grew up.
metaphorically.
I grew up in a very rural area, and like I was disappointed that she didn't, because like I know it
Like, I
sounds
get it,
terrible.
but
Like I
mm-mm.
growing up in a rural area, or growing up like in a almost farm setting, like when I grew up or where I grew up at, like you were kind of surrounded by death, and like you're talking to somebody who had to like put a puppy down after coyotes got it. And so like I was unsympathetic with her when she left it, because like it's shitty and it sounds awful. But like with the way that I grew up, it would have been a mercy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
For
like
her, a
I was
16-year-old girl who just experienced death,
Well,
like
the
I
thing
could
is,
see where she wouldn't want to be the final
Yeah.
inflictor.
and I understand that, and I respect that, Goose, and I think her
Yeah.
character did as well. It's just actually bringing yourself to take something else's life, even when it's
Suffering.
Even when it's
It-
suffering, yeah.
it just can't. I mean, I've never really been brought to that threshold, but I honestly do not think that I'd be able to do it. You
And
know,
how do we
I-
know
Yeah,
it
no.
couldn't talk? Have you seen Kangaroo Jack?
yeah, yeah, I have. It's the best rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes. I swear
Well,
to God.
I just had to do that last month. So
A
kill the
kangaroo?
kangaroo too.
He
Damn.
killed it.
Wild.
God damn it.
Salem caught a bird and was just didn't kill it. Was just kind of it was
Playing with it.
bleeding. Yeah, and
Oh.
tore
Nah.
all its tail feathers off, and it was suffering. So
I will say
I
the
took a
one-
shovel and chopped its head off.
Well,
that's what I'm talking about.
that was nice of you.
Decapitation.
But even that, I feel like, is different than like a meteor substanced animal
A meteor.
that you're running over with
you
a
know,
car.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like the only time
I wouldn't
that
do it with a car first off because you're
Mhm.
going to damage your car for
Mhm,
right.
and you're not even guaranteed it's going to do the job. It might just
Right.
make it
That's
suffer
my
more.
thing.
The thing is, you got to go in with. Not everyone has one of those yellow X-Acto knives, and you slit its throat.
Yeah,
Oh, I
carry one
thought you were
around with
talking
me
about
all the
not
time.
not everyone has a gun. I'm like, yeah, but this is
No.
America.
No, I don't live in America. We don't.
No,
We're not allowed.
I know.
We
but,
don't.
But that's the thing. The one time I didn't put an animal down was there was a deer that we hit in our work truck on the way to a job site, and like I had my pistol on me, and I was like, guys, I'll take care of it. And like I walked down into the like little embankment where it was, and like it stood up and it looked at me, and it was missing an entire fucking leg, and it looked me dead in my eyes, and then went, "See you later," and just
Said,
took the
"Try
fuck
me,
off.
motherfucker."
He took the fuck off, and I went, you know what?
Mhm.
Go for him.
Right.
Go for him or
Yeah.
her. But yeah, I'd have put the kangaroo down like out of
But-
mercy. Like at that point,
Yeah.
yes.
But I think that was foreshadowing to set up the character.
Yeah.
So
Like I
her-
said, it wasn't
Yeah.
Chekhov's gun; it was Chekhov's
Which-
armory, bro.
which added more tension to the scene at the end. Like, will she or won't she? Like,
Mhm.
she couldn't do it before, and now through the influence of her mother, can she or can't she? With that extra added, push, would she be able to do it?
Was that her mother?
No, but I meant she viewed it as her mother. Who cares what we think? It's what she thinks in her head.
Yeah.
Like,
Fair
So,
play.
Yeah. You got to put yourself in her shoes, in her mind, and
Mhm.
So I really enjoyed the movie. It wasn't. It was really good. Like I enjoyed like the first 2/3. Like I said, I loved it. Like the party scene, like we touched on, the guy when he goes and he gets that spirit, the horny spirit. I mean, that was excellent.
Delete it. I said, no, don't delete it.
Yeah.
But also, like again, like and we talked about like that the influence of modern age stuff. We didn't talk about that. I don't know why I said it like that. But like with
No, we're
the
here with you. We talked about that.
right? With
If
how
the audience
like
doesn't remember it, it's their fault.
with how quickly things can go viral and stuff, and the mental
Yeah.
effect it has on these kids. So like he didn't experience anything like tragic, but also it's like is this the end of him? Because he came from like a super religious family,
Yeah.
and now this video is out there, and he just got his foot sucked for the first time against his will.
No,
So it's like,
he
who's
wasn't
this?
he was the one that got
Yeah.
his toes sucked.
Yeah.
Mhm. And so
And he's still a virgin. Like, it
Well,
took me like
not his
10 years
toes.
after I lost my virginity to get my toes sucked.
he had it twice. Well, no, he's still. But
got
even
killed
with
in
that,
the
it's
game.
like, imagine your first sexual experience being with like a possession type thing with a dog that everybody saw, and then
Hey,
your
look, I'm
second
not-
one also
I'm
by a
not saying-
possession. So it's kind of like, do real people, human beings, love me, or am I only
Hey,
like
I'm just
wanted
saying, look.
by?
I'm only attracted to demons.
Hey, look, losing your virginity to a dog.
And it's interesting too because he was the only real like source of morality, like religion in the movie. So for him to be like the one that like these horny spirits
I know.
love him, I'm like, there's something about him, and I thought
Oh,
maybe
it's
there was
so
some
uncomfortable.
subtext there, but like
Another thing to add on to my me as a cunt thing, the whole you can just stay at my house.
I
I'm
didn't
not
think that
doing
was cunty.
anything. Oh no, she was gonna suck
No.
that dude's toes regardless.
There was no way. She was so. I honestly
the
thought.
implications.
I
think
thought
she
thought
liked the
he might have
attention a little
been.
too much. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also felt like he was
Cookie.
possibly gay.
Good point. Cunt.
How not into girls he was. He seemed very uninterested in
Yeah,
girls in general.
yes,
So I
yeah.
thought that's what they were going for.
Hey,
that
we're
he
not
was,
here to
Maybe.
we're not here to speculate on his sexuality.
Well, it was pretty out front how they were
Yeah.
spinning it. So I kind of
I
got,
don't know.
especially with the religion
Look,
being
if
an
a dude
aspect.
if a dude
Yeah.
wants to
Oh
fuck
yeah,
a dog,
like when
let
the
him fuck a
spirit's
dog.
like looks right at her and be like, "You
make
make
him
his
soft."
dick soft." Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
you make him
I was.
soft.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
But
So
see,
what does that
there was
mean?
a lot of
Like,
religious guilt and a lot of
I thought that implied he wanted Mia because you remember that time they held hands. Ooh. They held hands
But-
once,
When he
so
was looking over at Mia and he was like touching himself, I was like,
that's what I'm
oh,
saying.
this is-
Cookie, I
But
know
he
the same
also
thing,
went like full on erection for the dog. So
Yeah,
who's
that's
I
to
don't think
say
it- I don't
where
think
his
it-
loyalty
I don't-
lies?
Grinding.
I don't think
just
I don't think it was I don't think he was like in I don't think it was because it was a dog. I think the spirit in him that was
He was trying
just
to embarrass him. Yeah.
You think he was trying to embarrass him, or you think he was
Yeah.
just trying to get its fuck on? Because like if
No,
I was dead,
you would fuck a dog?
no, I wouldn't fuck a dog. But like if I was dead,
Any
If I was
affection.
dead, I would
hey,
take a
look,
dog.
look, I'm just saying. Look, if I'm inhabiting a body and it's been like years since I did the get down, like I'm down for it. And like, look, hey, I'm just saying, if this, look, I'm just not saying that it's a dog. I don't think he saw it as a dog. I think he was just trying to get his fuck on.
No,
And,
I
like,
think especially with the hell scene,
With
I
any
think he
tongue
was
in general.
absolutely trying to degrade him
Oh,
and make
okay.
him look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And I love it's just such a simple effect, but the dilated
Eyes,
eyes,
yeah.
like the
that was
contact,
really cool.
is so good. So good. It's so
Yeah.
simple, but so effective. And I think this movie did it's a fantastic introductory movie into the world, into the lore,
Mhm.
right? They didn't overload you with too much information, like Johnny was saying. They gave you just enough to understand what was going on, and from there you can build out from it. Like they didn't try to like, oh, let's go into the past and like research it and become like junior detectives to find out. No, it was these kids that have this thing and we're just
Right. They don't give a shit about the origin of the hand.
they're
want it
just there
stop.
to have
Yeah.
a good time, and
Yeah.
so I love that they stuck to that and they didn't try to go beyond that too much.
Yeah.
And with how allegorical the rest of the film was, Goose, I really do think that like that whole scene was the demon trying to make him look bad. It was everything was
Because he was he was like an uncorrupted soul.
Yeah, you're gonna say uncut.
He was
Because he was an uncut soul.
Hey, look, he may
was
have been
too pure.
uncut. We don't know.
Well, no, he's a human man. There's definitely shit that's definitely wrong with that kid. You know what I mean? Somewhere down there. Lord knows how big or small it was, but like I don't believe
But
it.
hey, look, she's talking about cut. Look, it doesn't matter whether he's Jew or Gentile. Like, let the man live.
Oh no, he's a Christian boy. He's definitely
Yeah, he's-
circumcised.
maybe a little. Maybe he
Snipped and
accidentally took
clipped.
a little too
He
much.
ain't rocking a noodle, that's for sure.
Yeah, took off too much. You saying they cut that 5 skin?
Look, for some reason, that dog was super appealing, and that gives off the 5 skin vibe.
Hey, wait. Was the dog male or female?
Doesn't matter to a Dean.
Had sticky farts anyway.
Yeah.
They mentioned it multiple times.
Well, at least it didn't have iced farts.
But man, the Joe Bird is
How do you just move on?
Anyway,
Riley, the character Riley, played by Joe Bird. He's another, I think, an actor that was fairly inexperienced. I think this might have been one of his first movies, and I think he did a good job. And man, does he get the raw end of the deal in this?
That's
movie.
Philip DeFranco, right?
my
Yeah,
God.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
His
Philip DeFranco Jr.
his talent picture though for like IMDb, they really need to change that because I hate it. I hate
Yeah,
it.
it's not very good.
And I don't want to
It's
talk
very,
about kids, but it's
After
given,
like Disney special, like Disney Channel, very Disney Channel.
He looks like a young Ellen DeGeneres. He's giving.
Oh no,
He's
really?
giving
Ellen
single mom.
DeGenerate.
He's giving single mom. He's giving.
Now I have to go
But-
see it.
But man, like the scenes in the hospital, like very brutal. Like Johnny says, when it does go to the gore, it's brutal. Like they don't hold
Yeah.
back. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
and
Brandon
those-
Cronenberg.
And it's all on Riley.
yeah,
Don't
Riley.
work
Yeah,
it.
well, that's it. The spirits, like they want him,
Well,
right?
That's why I was
Like
going off.
you.
That's why I was going off of it being so much like a after school special, because like he tried drugs once on his birthday and he died. You know what I mean? It's like feeling.
Yeah.
Yes, very families in crisis. Yeah.
It's I blame the mom.
Don't
She knew
blame
something was up.
Ewan.
She knew something was up, and she just left the kids there.
Well, she
She
gotta
tried-
go to
she's
work.
like,
Trust your
There's a
kids.
party. There's a party. She should have
No,
like called
Joe, because
someone.
then
Had a
gotta-
very responsible daughter, and
And well, your
I'm
mom's
just
over
joking.
there
5 minutes.
cooking
The
poutine
daughter
while you're
was
in the
the
basement
The
bumping
daughter
chess.
was the most responsible.
Difference.
The mom was bugging out. The daughter was the most responsible. She
No,
I've
she
said it
wasn't,
before.
because if that boy had said, "Let's do hard drugs right now," she would have been down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was the least
she was-
responsible.
Yeah, because
She's
hard
not
drugs
picking up
aren't
her
talk-
brother.
Hard drugs are
No.
not talking to the dead. Like,
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah, you-
Her brother would have been better off like shooting
She
up.
was
Yeah.
thinking with her coochie, man.
Ew,
Yeah, I
she's
think
too
with my
young to
dick
call
all
it
the
a
time.
coochie.
I think with, hey, look, Joe. I
She's
think
too
with my dick all the
inexperienced to
time.
call it a
Yeah,
coochie.
Goose, and you're totally a guy I could. You're a total guy I could see letting your girlfriend's little brother talk to the dead and screwing him over for life when you were.
Yeah, you know what? I would let my sister-in-law and her boyfriend transcend to another dimension, but I wouldn't let them talk to the dead. Because, like, look, I'm not one of them
You don't need to
conspiracy.
make it friends, man.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm not one of those people who are real, like, spiritual or whatever. But if I grab a hand and say, talk to me, and
Mhm.
said, let me in, and some demons possess me, you know what my next step would be? Never fucking doing that again. Ever. Not even
But-
once.
But there's supposedly a real big rush associated with it. Like when they come out,
A
it's like
euphoric
he
feeling.
says,
Cool.
like he says.
I'll do heroin.
Well, that's what.
that's your personal choice, right? That's your personal
That's a
choice.
different kind of
I
demon.
would say I'd rather maybe do possession than do heroin. Like I've never known anyone to be possessed, but I've known more than a
People to be
handful of
heroin.
people to be addicted to heroin, and you know,
But hey,
I
did
know
those-
that.
Joe,
I know
Joe,
what that
Joe,
looks like. I don't know what this other
Did
thing
those,
looks like.
did
Joe.
those people pull their eyeballs out?
I don't
She
know.
On
committed
drugs? Yeah.
suicide.
What was his
Yeah.
name? Houston,
Actually,
the
yes.
rapper? Didn't he like pluck his eyeball
Who?
out after a bad trip? Houston,
Two committed
the rapper?
suicide. One
There was the
struggles
dude who-
constantly. Another
There
one
was
became
the
a
Wu-Tang.
prostitute. So yeah, it's not very fun.
Did any
Not
of them
fun.
throw themselves out into traffic?
No, but
And-
they hung themselves. One with a
Oh,
choker.
that's fair. Let's not get
With a
into
dog
that.
choker?
Anyways,
Yeah.
me as a cunt.
Yeah.
The guys from Ghost Adventures pretend to get possessed all the time. I watch that show for the comedy value.
Zach. Is that
This guy-
Zach?
Yeah,
Is that Zach with the super cool hair?
yeah, the super
Zach
cool hair,
Baggins.
the muzzle tees with the glitter
His-
all over it.
Wait,
yeah.
his last name is Baggins?
Possess me, bro.
Wait. His
I
last
think
name is
it is.
Baggins.
I do believe so.
Oh, dude, you know what? If he was a hobbit, he'd be Douche Baggins.
Baggins.
Oh man, the Halloween episode where they go to Dracula's castle and he gets lost. Look, Billy, it's the circle, and he pretends to get possessed. It's one of the funniest things ever put.
Oh my god!
I highly recommend watching it. So there are people that I think at least pretend to be addicted to being possessed, because those Ghost Adventures idiots are always doing that shit. So
yeah.
And,
but
I would love to see one of them rip their eyeball out. Like that would actually make me like really enjoy one of the episodes.
Oh, you would love to see it?
Yeah.
But this is, I think, what makes this even more impressive is this is their debut movie. They go from being like making short YouTube videos to a feature film, and not just any feature film, like an extremely popular, successful good feature film. Like in the documentary, they had this producer, like one guy that invested in it. He's like, no one from start to finish could point any single moment out of this film and say, oh yeah, now I can see this is their first film. He says, I've never seen such a solid first ever feature film by a couple of directors, and like he's like, it's outstanding. So is this like lightning in a bottle and they'll never be able to do it again? I don't know, but it was definitely a fucking great first at bat. I mean,
and
also
they're doing a sequel, so
yeah.
On top of that, like,
what's it called? Talk to me.
To me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
said past tense though. I didn't say to. That was too
that's
easy.
Like
I should have seen
that's
it.
like expend for BLS.
Yeah. Same.
There's no way they couldn't follow this up, man. They left it wide open and like with a good premise. I just hope they call Sinister to it. Which, I mean, it's going to be an A24 movie.
Well,
has A24 done a sequel to any of their horror films?
Pearl.
Oh, no,
Pearl.
Yeah.
So they don't have a huge track record with doing sequels or prequels. They only have, I think, that one maybe, or so we don't know if they'll fall into the trap of the franchising the shit out of a horror movie to the point where
it'll depend on if these directors
run it into the ground.
It'll depend on if they come back and direct it or not.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like
for it if the sequel is if they direct it or not.
Yeah.
Exactly, and I think that with A24 being the way that it is, they're giving them, like, leaving it wide open. I feel like they're giving them the option to come back to it if they want to. It's the same way that Cullen Bunn does his books, where he'll write a first volume for something and then not come back to it until like a year later. Oh, okay. I don't know if y'all heard that, but it was Dakota saying like Cold Spots, which I still don't have. We got a volume 1 of that. It's super dope, but I feel like they could come back to it at any time. But I would be happy. I'd be happy if they came back to do another one, but I would also be happy if this was a one and done.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to know the lore of the hand. I don't need to know where it goes after, and I don't need to know where it was before. That mystery makes the movie that much better.
Intriguing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But also I feel like they would have to elaborate a little bit. And I also got like Clive Barker vibes from, and like what's the movie?
The Hell
Event
Scene
Horizon
for sure.
too.
The Hell
So
Scene.
Yes.
Without
Are we getting an
exploiting
Event Horizon too?
without being exploitative of it, I feel like there is a way that they could make it work in a sequel where it's explored a little bit more. And I would be open to something like that, but it did feel like it could have just been done. This is it.
Yeah, like I said, I think Johnny pointed it out too. Like, if they come back for a sequel, I'm all in. But I don't think a sequel will happen unless they're like involved in it.
Yeah. Unless, like, if they do carry on with the new people, like it's people they picked out and have confidence in type of thing, and like
you know what? If they were to turn this into like I know it sounds weird, but if they turned it into like a mini series where like just 6 different directors different directors they pick, like I'd be cool with that. But like I said, I'd also be okay if this was one and done, because I feel like they wrapped it from start to finish. There's that air of mystery with the hand, and I feel like Johnny said, there's not lore into it, and so it's meant to be interpretive, I believe.
But I could see that'd be a nice way to do it if they're interested in supporting, like, let's say the Australian film industry and the creative people there is, let's say they
Or
do
even
this
the
sequel.
Kiwis.
Yeah, and this sequel does great because it's been greenlit, right? I could see them do like Goose says, maybe not a series, but maybe an anthology movie where you get a bunch of different stories and they pick like directors that they love from around Australia and do like an anthology Talk to Me, where each director gets like, let's say, a 20-minute segment to tell like each individual stories, if that with the hand as the subject matter would be kind of cool and a way to help support up and coming filmmakers from Australia. That would be an interesting
Kind of like
way to do it.
VHS, but like just all based on the hand. That'd be cool.
Yeah. See, I'd be down for something like that. But like I said, I don't want a sequel unless it is by them or someone that they handpick, because I feel like, especially knowing, well, yeah, especially knowing that like this was their first movie, that makes me respect it a whole lot more because it was enjoyable from start to finish. It was one of those films where like there wasn't a second where I wasn't like, they'll sell you the whole seat, but you really only need the edge. Like it was one of those things. And so I like I said, I really enjoyed it. But now knowing, because I didn't know before we started the podcast that was their first film. And so like, I really feel like even if it wasn't the strongest film that we've seen, that just gives us it gives them room to grow. And I feel like they will be one of those like, who's the guy that did Malignant? Was it Wong? Is it James Wong?
James Wan, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not saying that they'll be like him. Malignant was fucking kick ass. We did that last year, but not saying that they'll be like him. Oh yeah, it's okay.
But he's actually in the little documentary. He reaches out to them and says like, "Wow, guys, this is fantastic!" Like in that little documentary, like all these directors are like hitting them up and just like, I just watched the movie, and they were calling them and just like giving them praise and props for making this movie and stuff. So
I want them to stay the Ari course if they do a sequel, not the James one. I love his movies because they're ridiculous.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I just mentioned him because he is like one of those prevalent like names. Like he started off and like he expanded on the whole Conjuring thing and all that stuff. And so like that's what I put them to, because like it's everybody will have a one-hit wonder or whatever, but because the film was as good as it was, I feel like they have room to grow. And with the buzz and
hell,
what
Goose,
they get,
you just pointed out like they started out just as good as James Wan is now. In my opinion, like
fair.
Like
fair,
I said earlier enough,
point.
like in my opinion, this movie performed. It didn't have the jump scares and stuff, but like in a way, it really reminded me of like those really good Blumhouse movies that sometimes do have James Wan's names tied to them, like The Conjuring or the first Sinister was pretty good. You know, like
And that's why I brought him up, because like I said, he was one of those prevalent names. I feel like this film is on par. Like I probably enjoyed this film more than Malignant. Actually, I'll say it. Like
I definitely did, except for maybe the jailhouse fight.
Yeah, the
scene.
fight. I was about to say.
That was kick ass.
With the disco hookers and stuff. Yeah, that's when the movie was really good.
With that being said, I want to see them, like, not so much on a Hollywood budget, but I want to see them doing what they're doing now, but now that they have like the buzz around them, seeing them get the funding and doing the things that they want to do, no matter how outlandish it is. Like if they put out a movie next year, I'll be first in line to wanting to see it because of what they did with Talk to Me.
Well, the cool thing about this too is like they're finally a YouTuber that made a movie that people liked.
Yeah.
You know?
What? Nobody liked that Jake Paul film?
Like there's been I don't know how many YouTuber movies that have been made, man, and like this is finally one that like people. It's like the Mario Brothers movie of like, or of
how much
YouTuber movies.
How much pull does Ari Aster have over at A24?
A lot.
Because he was the first director that reached out to them to congratulate them on there, and that's when they were like, holy fuck, dude, Ari Aster fucking told us that he liked our movie. Yeah, exactly. And they were almost crying there when he reached out to them. So, I mean, I highly recommend everyone go watch that Raka Raka YouTube video where it's like We're Going to Sun. I think it's called We're Going to Sundance. Is that what it
Yeah.
was called?
Or
Anyway,
like
it's
We've
a
Been
good watch.
Gone or whatever.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah, and it's a great little, like, it's 13
it's so
minutes, so
good.
it's a quick watch, and it's so good, like,
Yeah.
really good.
Ari
Yeah.
Aster is basically like their Christopher Nolan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll probably do
Yeah.
anything that he asked.
Like, well, he made one of my favorite horror movies, so
Which
what,
one?
The Strange Thing About the Johnsons? Or...
Heredity.
Oh.
Oh, Hereditary was. Okay, you know what? I will. I have to go out and say this because you mentioned Hereditary. One of the things from one of the crowdfunding things that I back from Dwellings is they send postcards, and all their postcards are like horror movie based, and they have a Hereditary one on the last one that they sent. Which was absolutely amazing. But if y'all missed out on the crowdfunding, that is absolutely okay because they have been picked up and y'all will get the first issue, I believe, first quarter of next year. And so this is just me mid-show shouting out Dwellings by Jay Stevens, the guy who did the Tutton, the King Tut PBS show. But yeah, check out Dwellings if you haven't, because Hereditary is dope, but so are those postcards that they sent.
But where does this rank on your A24 list?
Me?
All of us, like, we'll go around. Like, where does this rate amongst all the A24 films for you?
Let's hear it, Johnny.
Somewhere probably the upper middle. Like, it's not as interesting or as crazy as something like Ghost Story or Tusk, but
was Tusk A24?
Yeah, as experimental, but like I knowing what I know about it, it's very bold, and I'm glad that they were able to snap it up and put it out instead of somebody that wouldn't have respected it and put it out the way it was. So yeah, I give it a good. Because it's a 7 out of 10 for me, you know what I mean? So like where you slot a nice 7 out of 10 horror film.
Yeah. Well, I'll go next. I think I'm right there with Johnny as far as A24 goes. Like, they've got a lot of phenomenal films, and I wouldn't say specifically that this is one of their standout films, but I feel like this is one of their films you need to watch. Mm-hmm. It's interesting enough to keep me start to finish, and so I feel like it's one of those ones that, like, if you know what, like I was talking about the menu's been out a year now, so if it's a Friday night and you don't have anything to watch and this is streaming, put it on, because it's
that's an A24?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be streaming on one of the services soon, probably like Peacock or Paramount.
It was already on
distribution.
It's on Max, isn't it?
In Canada, I think it's on. Was it on Disney or HBO? Yeah, it might be the HBO channel it was on. Yeah,
so. Really, because I think American distribution, A24 and Showtime. And Showtime is teamed with Paramount now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It wasn't
Paramount
streaming.
Fucking everything up.
I had to pay $20 to rent it.
Yeah.
So after y'all, because I think it was, what was it, you, Johnny, or you, Joe, that said you didn't know much about it except for the trailer. I hadn't even watched the trailer.
I hadn't watched the trailer either.
Y'all were like, we're doing this show, and I was like, well, we can call it Talk to Me Goose, and I'm 100% yeah. In fact, like, we scheduled Two Stone to review, talk about Two Stone to podcast. I'm here. What's up, brother? But no, like, you were talking about, like, I had never seen or heard anything about the film, and so I went into it because y'all were like, let's do this show. When can you come on? Like, I'm not trying to be Mr. Cool, but we scheduled the show around when I'd be able to come on. And so, like, I paid the $20 to watch the movie because, and fuck it, I'll pay a little extra. It was worth the $20 that I spent to view it. Mm-hmm. I'll say that.
Yeah, so, I think so. I think definitely.
You know what? Johnny said mid to upper, and he gave it a 7 out of 10. Because of how it kept my attention and the innovations it brought to the possessed phenomenon, I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. How about you, Al? Where's this rate in your? If you're an A24 apologist,
I'm
so
an A24 apologist. I will say, like, as far as like straight up like horror goes, for A24, I did like this better than their slasher movies. X Pearl, I didn't really whatever. I know that's like
Eat your
blasphemous
shit.
to some people, but I would give it like an 8.5, and I would put it up there, like top 10 of their like horror. I feel like it's also a generational thing with their movies. Some movies I feel like are intended for a younger audience. This Bodies, which I thought was phenomenal. I feel like it's kind of like on that same like audience level.
Wait,
so,
Elle, you're around my age, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
okay.
I don't know. How old are you?
No,
I'm
she's
15.
older than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
No.
16 actually. No.
She's older than you, Goose.
I'm about to
34,
turn.
but I feel like this has very much like Gen Z vibes to it, just like Bodies did. But I think that they executed it well enough that like even for me, you're able to relate to the different characters and the scenarios and stuff. Bodies was probably more satire than, straight horror, but like I appreciate what they are doing because you are bringing in new audiences to the genre. She's 86
Like,
and 3.
yeah,
Tombstone
like-
to review is probably easy. 73, 74, I heard. Our dad was older.
Hey, you know what, man? She's not a lady unless she's 80. That's what I say. Actually, what I normally say is she's not a lady unless she's 280, but, either way, I've heard it both ways.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go with the
Shout out
first
to
one you
Psych.
said. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I don't know about a sequel. I'll probably go into it. My daughter just got into like watching horror movies alone, so she's been like staying up and watching. Like she watched Willy's Wonderland for the first time.
City boy.
And she's had the comic book
Did it
for
fail?
some time, but it's the first time she's watched it. And she was like, "Why is it rated R?" And I was like, "I don't know. Maybe there's a titty or something." She's like, "Oh, I don't want to see that." And then when the torso scene happens, she comes in the room and she's like, "The torso? You could have warned me." And I said, "Oh, I thought you were worried about seeing like a penis or something."
Torso? I hardly know her.
Yeah.
I
And then
thought
she
it was rated R because of the pinball scene, man. That was just so hot.
Okay, I mean.
Wait, Willy's Wonderland?
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene was definitely sexual.
Who made that? That's not an A24, is it?
No.
No,
No.
it should have been though.
She's like
But I
she's
made
like
my-
dipping her toes in, and then she likes like escape room
Yeah.
and movies like that, like Blumhouse, especially
Yeah.
with like FNAF coming out at the end of the month. She's like super into all of that stuff. So
I made my grandmother watch LEL equal pervy perv. Hell yeah. I made my grandmother watch Willy's Wonderland, and I'm pretty sure she also thought that scene was sexual because Nicolas Cage is the embodiment of sexuality and godness. So no, Willy's Wonderland definitely sexual. Probably shouldn't let your daughter watch that.
Well, she's she's 12. She's an
Oh
adult.
yeah, so
Some
probably
things are
let her.
still going over.
She came
You
in
know
the
what?
room and she's like asking my husband when he got home from work, "You know Nicolas Cage?"
Wait, you're married? Fuck this, I'm out. Yeah.
Goes, "Oh my god, have you heard of Nicolas Cage?" And he just kind of stared at her for a minute because he didn't understand the context. Because he came home from work, it was like midnight, and they're just staring at each other like, "You heard of Nicolas Cage?" Not a hello, not a welcome home.
He thought she stole the
This underground
Declaration of
actor.
Independence.
Yeah.
And he's telling her all the wrong Nicolas Cage movies to watch. I said, no.
Wait. If he mentioned The Rock or Face Off, he's not wrong, and check yourself.
There are no wrong.
He
Nicolas
didn't
Cage movies to
mention
watch.
Face Off, which is Face Off and Con Air to me are like Mount Rushmore.
Put
You have
down, put down
Con Air
the
was
Purple
good.
Bunny.
Hummingbird.
It was a good action flick.
Hummingbird.
All right.
I'm
All
coming
right.
home, Hummingbird.
Speaking of Nick Cage, so where do you rate this, Cookie? And you're A24.
Speaking of Nick Cage, Cookie.
Cage.
Yeah, because we're going to be doing a segment with Cookie where we she picks a Nick Cage movie and we watch it and do an episode.
Oh,
Once a
well,
month.
invite me on that.
Yeah, well, we still have to talk about what movie she wants to do for the first one. So, yeah. All right. So, how does this rate for you, Cookie, man?
This is in my number 2 slot.
Ooh.
I'll
It's
take
high.
it.
I
Yeah.
love this movie. I love it. So it's Midsummer, this Pearl.
Ooh,
Female
wait.
trauma.
That's where
Tell
I'm
me
at.
A24 executes it perfectly.
Now,
Me
quick
too,
question.
though.
I didn't dislike Midsummer, but that's your top tier A24 movie?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you know what?
I love
Mad respectful. I enjoyed the film. I did, but
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed like Hereditary more. Like the Talk to Me does not rate higher than Midsummer,
Mm.
but I don't think Midsummer's my favorite A24 film. But mad respect for you because y'all were talking about female trauma, and I'll never experience that, and so privileged. What's
it's
up?
way too relatable.
Well,
That's the problem.
You
Hereditary,
could.
you've never accidentally driven with your sister's head out the window? I
Oh,
did
no.
like
Set your husband
Cobweb
on
better
fire?
than Talk to
No,
Me.
you
I
know
think that's
what?
the
No.
only horror movie this
Really?
year that
If
I
you-
enjoyed more than this one. And then Evil Dead, I feel like is also would be in the top 3
Oh.
for me this year.
Mm.
Evil
Yeah.
Dead Rise.
But Cobweb was
Can we please do an
I
episode on
obsessed
that?
with Cobweb.
Oh my
We
god,
already did
Cobweb
Evil
was
Dead
so good.
Rise.
Wait,
Sorry.
y'all already
Yeah.
did it?
Yeah, we did a
Yeah.
double feature with Renfield.
All right, well,
Renfield.
I guess I'll just go hang myself like the dude from the menu. Fuck.
Well, that burger
Wow,
though.
spoilers!
At the end-
Jesus!
The burger on the menu though, that made me so hungry. Legit
Oh,
ordered like
no,
DoorDash
look,
in the middle of the night
look.
because I said, you know what,
That
I
that
deserve
whole
it too.
that whole like scene where she's
Mhm.
like, I would like a fucking cheeseburger.
Mhm.
The fact that she saw the Howie's hamburgers thing earlier and the look on Ray Fiennes' face, like where he's just like looking at her and smiling, I'm telling you, nothing short of orgasmic.
Yeah.
I know what Goose's favorite A24 movie is.
What is it?
It's not Midsummer. It's mid-90s.
You know what? You know what?
That's an
It's-
A2. That's an A24
That-
film.
Okay, not only is
I
that
didn't know
movie fantastic, it's not my favorite A24 film. Not only is it fantastic, but the soundtrack for it is, oh my god, everything from fucking Passing Me By Far Side to like Wu-Tang. If you haven't had the chance, and I'm sorry I'm delving off topic, but Johnny brought it up and I'll have to go on it. If you have Spotify, go on to their mid-90s playlist because Jonah Hill set it up himself, and he even has like halfway through and like 3/4 of the way through they ask him questions about like the music that he picked for it, and it's really interesting. Mid-90s isn't my favorite one. I'd actually right now, if you asked me, I'd probably have to look at a list because every time I look at a list of A24 movies, I go, oh, I really enjoyed that. I didn't know it was A24.
Yeah.
I go by on like how hard I cried, and I think for me, Waves. I can't even listen to Frank Ocean without bawling.
Oh my god!
Off the trailer.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
my favorite.
So you're talking about a movie trailer. I can't listen to Frank Ocean without bawling because I've had my heart broke. But not the same thing. I cry over everything.
Yeah.
Like it's still to this day, like it's not even just my anxiety and depression. It's just one of those things where like I'll read something and I'll be like, oh my. Yeah.
And as you said,
breaks.
you're getting older, and I also feel like after you have kids, any kind of media.
Don't talk about that shit. I'm still young.
But it's true. After you have kids, I feel like there's like a shift mentally. Even with media before that wouldn't bother you. Like if I had seen Evil Dead Rise before I had kids, I'd have been like, fuck these kids, right? And I still felt that way in the movie, but also I was like, she doesn't have any siblings.
Check it out. Check it out. Let me tell you the secret of parenthood. I love my kids 100%. Anybody else's kids? Fuck them kids.
Oh yeah, the sound of a baby crying makes me want to throw up, and I feel bad because I'm like, my kids were babies once.
Yeah, but
get your kid out of here.
My kids didn't fucking cry like that. Get your shit in order. My kids don't cry. They're not allowed because I grew up with this thing called toxic masculinity.
Oh, they're gonna say Scientology.
Hey, look, get your thetans in order, bitch. But no, I grew up with only the only emotions allowed to be shown were anger, and so like my kids only know like happiness or anger, and that's what toxic masculinity does. I don't know why they're railing against it. It's awesome. That's not true. My kids are raised with love and respect, and they're awesome. So just want to put that out since we're live. I don't abuse my children emotionally.
Well, it'll make them tougher. Anyway. So for me, this would probably rate in top 5 for me for the A24. Not unlike Cookie, I have a hit and miss, love and hate relationship with A24 films. So this would probably be a top 5 for me.
Yeah, top 5 for
definitely.
horror in A24, but drama I feel is like I wouldn't put it in their overall movies.
I think I'm
But
with
horror
Al on
for
that.
sure.
I do. For me, it does.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, you know,
I haven't seen all. Like, I'm not an A24 fanatic, so I haven't seen all their movies, but I've seen a good chunk of them. And like, I mean, Green Room rates as one of my favorites
you
from
know what? Joe, just
I keep
because you
forgetting
brought
that's
that up,
A24.
Johnny, you were wrong. It's not mid-90s. It's fucking Green Room. I was tooting about that on Blue Sky or whatever they call their goddamn tweets now. A24 is one of my A24 Green Room is one of my absolute favorite movies because not only is it punk as fuck, but goddamn Patrick Stewart is the BBEG, and that makes me so fucking happy. I say BBEG is big bad evil guy. And so it's a D&D term. And so like him being the big bad evil guy literally makes my knees quiver and like brings the humidity in my shorts up about 5%.
Lighthouse, like I didn't care. I didn't care for that one.
No, Lighthouse ties into what Goose was saying because that scene where he splooges through the
my god,
cracks onto his
okay, you know what?
Midsummer,
Lighthouse is number 2. It goes Green Room, Lighthouse, and then probably like
Lighthouse was a fever dream. Like, what am I?
The killing of a sacred deer doesn't rate high, but I love what's his name, the kid's performance.
No.
The kid's performance is is fantastic. I love his
Was Lobster A24?
I'm not sure.
Killing
Pearl was
of a Sacred
alright.
Deer is an excellent. If you ever get a chance to read the script, one of the best scripts I've ever read. And I'm not trying to sound pretentious. That's just what my
don't worry,
educational background is.
I'm kidding.
I have a degree in, but technically, like from a technical standpoint, one of the best scripts. I have never been able to watch the movie because the script was so good that I was like, nah, you're gonna like Passengers. I don't know if you guys saw that. Like, that was a horror movie to me.
Is Dennis Quaid in that?
No, with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence.
Gross.
That was a horror movie.
No, I have seen that.
I've seen it.
Imagine being stuck in isolation and you wake up and there's this man who is basically, you're forced into close quarters with him and you're reliant. And when you read the script, it read almost like a thriller, like a stalker story. And then watching it, he tries to play it as like this fluffy, lovable, you're stuck with me, and it's like, oh my god, this is the worst.
And it's Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
You want to listen to some Christian rock with me? It's gonna be cool.
Hold hands.
Hey,
Guardians.
Say what you fucking. Five Iron Frenzy is a hell of a ska band.
One that I haven't seen that I've heard good things about is The Monster. Fulci recommended that one. I still haven't gotten to
the Rob Zombie one.
I don't know if I've seen that.
No, I don't know if it's Rob Zombie. It's called The Monster.
No, that's the Munsters, man.
Let's see. Brian Bertino is the director.
I don't mess with Amy Schumer, but The Humans was really good because the whole time you're waiting for something fucking weird to happen. It's such a tense movie and like there's so many eerie qualities about it, and then it's just a family Thanksgiving dinner and I said, what the fuck was this? Why was I scared, like on edge the whole time? And it's just a family drama. I said, is this what it's like to have a white family dinner?
Monster was directed by the Dark and Wicked guy, Joe.
Oh, nice. Yeah, okay.
It's pretty good. I actually liked it better than Dark and Wicked. It's another really depressing horror film, though. So.
Who are you murdering out in the woods, man?
Yeah, dude.
It comes at night.
He's in his bed, popping up a body.
Wait,
all right,
are y'all talking about me?
Yes. Yeah. So anyway,
look at the chat. I pissed so hard just now.
That's Goose pissing on air. There you go.
Is that why your eyes are rolled back?
Yeah, it's pretty great.
So Yeah, top 5 for me, and I'd probably give it a 7.5 or 8, somewhere around there. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, so
hard to move on from that.
Yeah.
The
So-
snot was dribbling.
So I mean, I think it's unanimous. I think everyone enjoyed it. It was a solid movie, even if you're not the biggest A24 fan. I mean, I think
8 out
you'll
of 10.
enjoy it. Yeah. And not unlike, it's like Johnny said, it has maybe more mass appeal than some of
Yeah,
the
it was
other
more
A24
straightforward,
movies.
yeah.
Kind
It
of
was
like
more
Bodies.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it falls in that category of the A24 lineup of movies. So
It's a lot less surreal, a lot less esoteric, a lot less art housey than a lot of the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
films. It's a kind
Yeah.
of lot more approachable of a horror
Mhm.
film than their usual output.
yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say it was probably their most approachable horror
Yeah,
movie
definitely.
they've released
Yeah,
so far.
definitely.
Mhm.
Because even Bodies, you had to be a certain level of in the know to get it.
Yeah. I've never seen it because I'm too old to enjoy that movie.
No, it was
think I'm off
it was
Thursday,
it
but
was
I'm
like
gonna be
big
meeting
satire,
with
but you'll
my
get it.
editor.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, talk to me, man. Thanks for coming on, you guys. I know when we brought it up, you guys were excited to talk about it. So I'm happy that we got to do this and chat about it. And I think we had a pretty good discussion. Thanks for people that hopped in the chats and interacted with us. And thanks to anyone who watches the replay. Hope you enjoy the episode. And yeah. So
Well,
any final words from you guys about this movie before we sign off?
Well, thank y'all for making me watch this, because without y'all, I would have not known about it, because I live in bumfuck nowhere and never see shit like this. So I appreciate y'all putting me onto it. It definitely, like, I've been telling Dakota for a week and a half now, like, oh, baby, you need to see Talk to Me. It's fucking awesome. And so, and like I said, 8 out of 10, not the best film you'll ever see, but definitely one worth watching.
Cool. Anyone else? Any final words before we sign off?
Yeah, we'll be back on Friday. We're gonna have John Lees, Ian Laurie, and Fraser Campbell on. We're gonna have the crazy Scottish guys on to talk with us. It's gonna be pretty fun. That's gonna be another early episode. It's gonna be 2:00 Eastern Standard Time, 7:00 if you're in the UK, bro.
Friday?
Yeah.
You might have to count me in.
You're welcome to hop on, man.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I love you guys.
But yeah, I think that's all we're doing next week, right? Or we've got plans so far. We might get something else going on, another movie review or something, but nothing really planned yet, because we've been going kind of hard since we started this new show. We did 10 episodes in
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That's
It
crazy.
almost makes you ask yourself, how did we get here?
Yeah. I let you
man.
in.
And didn't blow out the
He
candle.
said the name.
He didn't
said
blow
the
out the
name.
candle.
Have a good week, everyone.